Hello and welcome to Yellow Orb's first voice recorded video. Yay. Today I'm gonna be rating Candy Crush Saga levels 20,346 to 20,405. Okay, so firstly, I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm making these voice recorded videos now because I just wanna diversify my content. I wanna hit the monetization criteria, and one of those optional criteria is to reach a certain number of watch hours. The easiest way to gain these, according to most people, is by making long form content. Hence why I am doing this, but it's also because this is just an idea I thought of impromptu. This video is gonna be totally unscripted, so enjoy my true commentary. I really don't think scripting stuff is necessary for me because, well, it's not like I'm bad at speaking English, even though I'm not necessarily from a native English speaking country. And I feel like by not scripting stuff, you're just more true to yourself. Let's begin. Anyway, these are the three metrics I'm gonna be using to judge levels. Firstly, its design. Okay, let me set the context first. Candy Crush levels are largely AI generated nowadays, and no, this is not a conspiracy theory because it has been confirmed by the developers. In fact, they are forcing the level design team to utilize AI in level design. So number one, design. With the advent of AI generated levels, most of the levels, they just look like a hot mess of stuff that makes no sense at all. It's just totally incoherent. So I'm gonna be judging levels based on how coherent they are and whether things just make sense. In the past, when levels were human made, we really took this design for granted. Now we have AI just putting random gummy dragons, aka springs, and stuff like that. Secondly, creativity. Well, creativity to most people is a human concept, so I'm gonna be adapting the definition of it. It's gonna be how novel the ideas are or how unique the level is. So more complex levels are just gonna get higher creativity scores. Thirdly, balance. It's about the progression and the difficulty. To get a high balance score, your level needs to be humanly doable, yet not extremely easy. And it needs to have a smooth progression. Many levels have this problem where at the start the player can't even make any progress. And once you open up the board, things just suddenly become very easy. Everything just falls into place. There's nothing wrong with these levels if you don't use them too often, but I found that nowadays this is a huge problem, and I am not gonna be very generous with this balance score because nowadays the levels have one problem, and that is that they are either extremely easy or humanly impossible. Expect to see very low scores. I'll be ranking the levels from worst to best. So level 20,386, we have a two-way tie for the final two places. Let's begin. 20,386. Just look at this level. There's zero coherence in all of this stuff. Let me explain. Wait, seriously, what is this mess? What is even going on here? If I were a player, I would be thinking, what? Seriously, what's the point of making this level? Random rainbow twists. There's nothing fun about this level. Come on, it's just excavating all of the stupid stuff. And secondly, it's just so bland. It's only frosting, licorice culls, and rainbow twists. Now there's striped cannons, but I'm pretty sure the spawn rates are every 3 moves, so it's not like they help at all. In fact, the player is just gonna be frustrated that the stripes spawned are gonna hit the licorice curls and do 0 damage to the blockers they actually have to clear. Okay, so that's the design and creativity explained. Now it's balanced. Look at the move count, 29, and that's with win streak, by the way, since I'm getting these screenshots from other Candy Crush YouTubers. 29 moves, 147 frosting, 60 rainbow twists. The starting board makes it look like a 3-colored level, but this is in fact a 5-colored level. With all of these licorice curls and 5-layered and 4-layered frostings, you know, the level is just going to be totally impossible. I don't have to say anymore. Level 20,392, equally bad level. Okay, let me explain. Someone tell me what the purpose of this jelly jar is. What does it add to the level? Because in game design you want to have a small palette of stuff that you're going to be using in the level. You don't just spam stuff or place stuff down without a care for the world, which is why I'm just gonna be disapproving of this jelly jar. It doesn't make the level any more fun. If anything, it just makes the level look uglier. Either you remove it or you replace it with a frosting or something. So because of that stupid mistake, the design score suffered. Second critical mistake in the level design. I'm circling them. These striped cannons. They aren't even adding anything to the experience. You don't just place special candy cannons because, oh, they make the level more fun. Well, in this case, they don't. They aren't aimed at anything, and if you know a thing about Candy Crush, you know that the striped spawn are gonna be coming out in random directions. So it can be either horizontal or vertical. The player is gonna be very frustrated when the stripes are not going in the direction they want them to, because come on man, you're making them wait 3 turns for a stripe and then you're spawning a stripe that they don't even need. It doesn't add anything to the experience. So that's the design explained. Secondly, creativity. Well, there's nothing novel about this level other than the fact that the shape is slightly interesting. It's not intriguing, but for an AI generated level, I'm gonna be very lenient here, and because of this interesting board shape, I'm not gonna be giving it a 0 or 1 out of 10 for creativity. However, just because it's an AI generated level doesn't mean I'm gonna be giving it a free pass. Hence the 2 out of 10 creativity score. As for balance, again, like the previous level, it looks like a 3-colored level at first glance, but just search the level up, search Candy Crush level 20392 or something, and you'll realize this is 5-colored. It's just impossible to clear all the blockers in 22 moves, and that's with win streak. Next. Level 20,350. Again, these levels are just so bland. This is your typical frosting spam and licorice curl spam. It's not that you can't have this kind of excavation level at all. It's just that it has to be done in moderation, you know. You don't just make every single level like this, and because of a repetitiveness, you know, the player is just not gonna be very happy that every single level is of this caliber. So 2 out of 10 for design, 2 out of 10 for creativity. As for balance, this is a 5-colored level, and with 28 moves, win streak included, it's totally impossible. Level 20359. Well, order locks. They're an interesting element, but you don't spam them for no reason. Someone tell me why they put that stupid 4 toffee order lock. Does it add anything to the level? Because if it doesn't, you don't put it in. It seriously doesn't make the level look any better. But the good thing is, this level, it's kind of sequential, so it shows some depth in the AI's thinking. I mean, it's better than not having any order locks at all, but in this case, the presence of the order locks does not bump up the score for design or creativity very much, because it doesn't add much to the level. You're simply, hitting toffee, opening rainbow twists, hitting toffee, opening rainbow twists, clearing everything. It's simply excavation. And I am highly disappointed, since order locks are complex elements and you just squandered an opportunity to use them in a novel way. Level 20370. Number 1 mistake, the placement of this gummy dragon. Come on man, sometimes having fewer elements is better than adding visual clutter. This gummy dragon, it's sadly sitting on top of just 2 toffee squares and doing nothing. The only purpose of it is to be distracting jellyfish. Very, very stupid placement there. Secondly, useless striped cannon. I'm pretty sure the spawn rate for the striped cannon is 2 moves. Correct me if I am wrong, but that's simply not generous enough. You're giving the player 21 moves to clear all of this thick toffee at the flanks, and you're just gonna give them a horizontal striped cannon with a spawn rate of 2 moves. The player is simply gonna be frustrated at the fact that the stripes largely are gonna be blocked by licorice swirls, or they won't land where the player wants them to. Now thirdly, I already mentioned this, but 21 moves, it's gonna be totally impossible to clear all the blockers. Level 20380. Another awful level, but I'll tell you why this didn't get a 5 out of 30 like the first 2 levels. The presence of that wonderful wrapper saves it. I'm pretty sure it contains a color bomb plus color bomb. Correct me if I am wrong, but at least that makes the level a little more fun, a tiny bit. But seriously, this is not how you go about making a Candy Crush level. What is the placement of these rainbow molds, if that's what you call them? It doesn't make any sense. This just looks so visually unappealing. It's visual clutter. You don't add rainbow molds if they don't add anything to the level. It just makes the level look visually cluttered. Second mistake, the coherence. I mean, well, I already mentioned that, but oh my god. Can you decide on how many layers you want the frosting to be? Don't just use different layers because you think you're cool or something, AI. Thirdly, this level is totally impossible. Go search up it and watch the players struggle and use like a million boosters, because in 22 moves and with 5 candy colors, the level is impossible. 20382, boring level. It's simply frosting and rainbow twists. The molomatics here, they add nothing to the level, so no AI, I'm not gonna give you bonus points for that. Second thing, impossible. 20389, another boring frosting spam level with licorice curls. This is just not how you go about making a level. Like, looking at this visual clutter, I can't help but think even an AI wouldn't make a level this awful. Well, there's nothing inherently wrong with AI generated levels, but if it can't even make a coherent level, you shouldn't even be releasing it into the wild, because this is just awful. Like, the shapes, yes, interesting, but they look awful, to be honest. Secondly, what is the purpose of those striped candy cannons when there are tons of licorice curls? Come on, you didn't have to troll the players like that. At least put wrapped candy cannons with 4 move spawn rates. It would be better than whatever they were thinking. Thirdly, don't put rainbow rabbit molds if they don't add anything to the level. It in this particular case, it doesn't even give the level a stronger sense of progression, and it just adds to visual clutter. If the rainbow rabbit molds were to be replaced by empty spaces, the level would in fact be better because it would be more coherent. 20398. Why is the creativity a 3 out of 10? Because of that those weird licorice swirl squares. Now, it may seem weird, but I am heartened that this at least is an attempt at coherence. You know, they didn't just put licorice swirls randomly, they actually made some patterns which made me bump up the scores slightly. But it is sad that balance score 1 out of 10, totally impossible. And also, seriously, what are those striped candy cannons for? 20346. We have a 7-way tie for these places, number 41 to number 51. So slight improvement here, but the levels are still majorly flawed. In this level, there's one critical mistake. The fact that the gummy dragons, aka springs, are there. You don't just go around putting springs if we're going to be 1 tile away from their collection point. It doesn't add anything to the level. You're just adding to the visual clutter. Okay, maybe by some chance you could keep the bottom 2 gummy dragons, but come on man, you didn't have to add those stupid gummy dragons on the flanks. Like, if those 2 gummy dragons were to be replaced by 2 layered toffee swirls, it would make the level look better. Now, second mistake, the jellyfish cannons, because they don't help. Their spawn rates aren't generous enough. Why is the creativity score a 3 out of 10 though? Because of the licorice shells. At least this level isn't just toffee spam or licorice cull spam. They actually put licorice shells to help the player out, so that marginally pulls the score up. I'm sorry because I'm not very well today, so my voice is kinda raspy and my brain is being kinda slow. 20364. Again, the aesthetics of this level, like the previous level, are not too bad, but it could have been better. Wrap candy bonbon blitzes. Well, yes, they're fun elements to have, but this is not the way you go about shoehorning elements into levels. Why would the player need 4 charged wrap candy bonbon blitzes? The blockers surrounding it are only 2 layered. Like, come on man, just make it a 2 charged instead. Making it 4 charged, it's just gonna be an impediment. It's gonna get in the way of a gummy dragons, and that defeats the points of a bonbon blitz, in my opinion, which is for fun mostly. Also, sorry for my bad English today. Again, my brain is being kinda slow. Second mistake, those stupid candy cane curls. Well, yes, candy cane curls, at least it's not licorice curls, but this just looks ugly. Can you just put candy cane curls on all 4 sides of the elements rather than putting only 2 because you feel cool or something? Seriously. Either that or you just remove them entirely. You want to have a small palette of elements which you are going to use in the level and not shoehorn in for no reason. 20365. Sad that this level is pulled down by its poor design. I'll explain. This random gummy dragon. Why are the other two at the top while this gummy dragon starts in the middle? It just makes no sense to me. So just move it to the top or something. Second mistake, the striped candy cannons. Notice those rainbow twist order locks? Well, why would we need striped candy cannons above them? Can you at least have a care for the world and put them in the columns where they are actually gonna be helpful? Otherwise, the player's just going to be frustrated that they're not getting what they want. Thirdly, seriously, stop using RNG striped cannons. Okay, so sorry for using technical terms, but that just refers to a striped candy cannon where the stripes come out in random directions. Like, the player wants stripes that go in the direction they need them to, not stripes that are horizontal in this case. They're not going to help. They're just going to frustrate the player. And that bumps the design score down because of the stupid design. But for the creativity, 3 out of 10. I'm being very generous here because the only reason why I gave this a 3 out of 10 for creativity and not a 1 out of 2 is because they decided to use order locks, and in this case they're not totally useless, so I'll give them credit for that. I don't have to explain why the level is impossible. 20381, an improvement, but totally impossible. And the spam, it just pulls the score down. Sure, you have the striped candy cannons and the bobbers, but that doesn't mean you can spam stuff without a care for the world. Explain to me why these 2 squares are not crystallized for some reason. It just makes stuff look ugly. You're just placing down random elements that don't form a coherent whole. They're just a conglomeration of isolated fragments, if you get what I mean. It doesn't feel like a level. It feels like a toddler's drawing or something. Poor analogy. 20387. Kinda cool board shape, but the overt amount of spam and the stupid RNG striped candy cannons, they just ruin the experience for me. Also, it's 5 colored. 20391. Cool contraption you have there, but there's no point. Notice vertical striped candy bonbon blitz, horizontal striped candy bonbon blitzes, vertical striped candy bonbon blitzes. These rainbow twists are 4-layered. So what the player has to do is they just hit the bonbon blitzes on the left once the sour skulls are opened, that is, and all of the rainbow twists will be snapped. Yes, it's a cool contraption, but you don't just make contraptions for no reason. Sure, it's cool, but I was disappointed. They could have done way more with this level. Why is the creativity score 3 out of 10? Number 1, the contraption, and number 2, the placement of a licorice swirls is kind of cool. 20403, nice L shape, but what pulls the design score down is this striped cannon. Culprit. Come on, you didn't really have to ruin the symmetricity of this level. You didn't have to spoil it like that. At least place a twin striped candy cannon down on its left or something. Come on, man. 3rd column, seriously. Even if you had placed it in the leftmost column, that would have been better. But I'm heartened that in this case, the RNG striped cannons are not useless. They actually help you clear stuff. 20348. Sorry, man. Just because you're a very easy level doesn't mean I'm gonna give you a lot of grace. This level it's incoherence, rainbow twists, and in between the paths is some incongruent agglomeration of blockers that don't even look like anything. Can you at least stick to one element or something? Like, make everything 5-layered bubblegum pop and 5-layered rainbow twists or something. Don't just place random blockers down. It doesn't add to the experience. At least the fact that it's doable slightly bumps up the balance score. 4 out of 10. It's only 19 moves, so it's not extremely easy, but it's still kind of a brain dead level. So if the move count had been lower, I would have been more generous with that balance score. 20354. Not very cool, sorry. Even though the shape is kind of cool. Kind of like a snake. What is this tile doing here? It makes the level look uglier. And why are there 2-layered toffee swirls in the top corners? It makes no sense to me. This level, it just feels like a filler. It doesn't have a purpose. All that's interesting about this level is the fact that there are bomb blitzes, and even then, in this level, I'm really disappointed with how they're used because it doesn't add anything. The bomb blitzes do the entire job of clearing out the toffee swirls for the most part, and that just leaves the player to mop up the remaining jellies, the stray jellies. This level really doesn't have a point. At least it's free-colored though. Kind of fun. 20361. If they had given this a more generous move count, I would have been more generous with my score as well. But anyway, impossible in 24 moves, but it's kind of cool thanks to that candy cane fence. I like how they isolated the right hand side of the board. The player actually has to form their own special candies in order to be able to clear the right side. In this case, it isn't something pointless. It actually adds to the experience. So there you go, 3 out of 10 for design and creativity. It's sad how they decided to make the level impossible though. 2 out of 10 design score. It would have been so much better if they had decided to give it 34 moves or something. I can tell you, this level wouldn't have been given a failing grade if they had gotten a human to do QA. 20374. I like the fact that they didn't put jellies under the rainbow twists. That makes the rainbow twist order actually not redundant. Let me explain why. In most levels, some of the objectives are redundant. Like in the previous level, the bubblegum pop order is arguably pointless. It can just be removed. But in this case, the rainbow twist order is actually necessary because there's no jelly under them. So, I don't know, man, it adds to the level or something. I don't know how to explain this. Why is the creativity a 3 out of 10? It's thanks to these order locks. Inside are licorice swirls. And I don't know, I just like it when they use regular candy order locks. Like this one calling for 70 red to be collected. They're kind of cool. Because it isn't just about clearing blockers, it's also about the small joys of Candy Crush, so to speak. 20377. Not too bad, but it just reminds me of that stupid order lock spam level earlier. It's sequential, but that doesn't mean it's automatically good. Because in this case, it just feels like, oh, clear all the blockers. That's extremely boring, to be honest. At least they put those 2 cake bombs at the flanks for. $20383. Okay, it isn't all bad because they actually decided to go a little crazy with their choice of elements here. You know, different kinds of special candy cannons, even licorice swirl cannons and sour skulls. Apologies for the bad English. I just came back because I reached the recording limits of 30 minutes. So, continue. My throat feels kind of scratchy and my nose is fairly blocked, so it's kind of hard for me to talk. And I don't know if you can hear it, but my background, there's a lot of ambient noise, which makes it kind of hard for me to think straight. Anyway, continue. We press on 20388. Well, thank you for putting conveyor belts. At least that makes the level feel a little more interesting, I guess. And thank you for using a sprinkling of different elements, and in this case they aren't totally pointless. Sugar keys, very cool. Good job. Rainbow twists. Thank you for putting rainbow twists rather than toffee souls all the way, so to speak. So 4 out of 10 for creativity. How could they have improved it? By making the conveyor belts actually have a purpose, and maybe by using more interesting elements. Like if they could have put a bomb on blitz somehow, some way, I don't know. 20404. Useless gummy dragons added again. But at least the board shape is kinda cool, so I'm gonna be lenient on them. This level, it feels a bit different from the others. It feels more unique because it isn't just about excavation this time. Notice how all the licorice culls are vertical, so it's kind of encouraging the players to make vertical striped candies, which is cool. They aren't just blocking the effects of all special candies. There's some space for strategy making here. And thank you for using order locks for a cool element. It's sad how this level gets pulled down by the fact that it is ridiculously difficult. Just search it up. Humanly impossible level. 20349. I like how you collect the keys sequentially to then open up the whole board. That gives it a layer of depth. But come on man, 21 moves, that's not how you do stuff. At least they decided to use licorice shells rather than spamming frosting all the way though. Makes stuff kind of fun. But I do have one gripe with this level, and that's the fact that these frosting exist. The level would have been better if they had replaced them with jellyfish or something, because these blocks, they're really an eyesore. Why aren't they locked up? They just serve no purpose in my opinion. They don't add to the depth. 20353. In this case, the gummy dragons aren't totally useless. You can go search up the spawn rates. 6 gummy dragons. So it isn't just about clearing everything on the board. You also have to make a conscious effort to bring down the gummy dragons, and that gives that makes the level a little more demanding in terms of intelligence. You know, players who don't read the goal will be punished severely. I like that. Sorry for sounding masochistic, but come on man, you downloaded a match-free puzzle game. You should expect to have to use your brain. 20362. Absolutely impossible, but I'm gonna be forgiving here. I like how the rainbow twists at the bottom. They're just a fun element to clear. Snap, 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 and then get the isolated jellies. It's kind of fun. The 2 upper order locks contain toffee souls, if I'm not wrong, and the 3 lower ones calling for 34 toffee contain licorice souls, I think. I don't remember, but kind of cool. The upper ones are pointless, but the lower ones, I'm fine with them being there. So 4 out of 10 for creativity, and I'm already being very generous. I'm keeping in mind the fact that these are AI generated levels. And yet the scores are still so low. 20378. Not creative at all. Very boring level, and totally pointless gummy dragons. Why did you put the gummy dragons there? You just make the level look uglier. And I don't know, but failed attempt to make a heart shape or something. But what saves the score is, although it's a ridiculously easy level, I recognize that maybe by some chance the AI was thinking, let's make a fun level, so I'm gonna be forgiving here. Wrap candy cannons, add to the fun of the experience. The fact that all of the jellies are single layered makes the level less annoying, and this wonderful wrapper contains a color bomb plus color bomb. Very kind of them. I mean, not kind because the level is extremely easy, but it makes the experience more fun. 20385. Sad that the gummy dragons are useless again, but I suppose the upper section is kind of interesting. At least it isn't totally spam, this level. But still, 23 moves, it's gonna be impossible. I'm pretty sure this is 5 colored, by the way. And those vertical striped candies are pretty stingy. So expect to have the spam boosters. 20394. I like the fact that there's that diagonal division because it gives the level a layer of depth, because you have to juggle 2 different sections at once. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, there's a bit of strategy, because the player has to think, oh, making moves in the lower section is gonna be a better way to generate cascades, but at the same time those jellies at the top are gonna be hard to reach, so how do I balance that? That makes the level kind of cool. But what pulls the design score down is firstly the placement of the striped candy cannons. Seriously, you could have done better. The striped candies were just gonna be blocked by licorice culls. That's no fun. And in this case, they look the level. Oh my god, they make the level look less aesthetically appealing. That's sad. Next, stupid gummy dragon, totally useless. What are you even doing here? Don't place elements that have no purpose down. 20347. I don't know, man. The starting board is kind of interesting. Yes, there's win streak, but I'm pretty sure that striped plus wrapped combo is fixed. So at least there's something that's different. You know, you have quite a blast of a start, because you get to start with a combo, things open up, and bursting those jelly jars is gonna be fun. In this case, I actually approve of the fact that they added jelly jars, because they make the level a little more fun. The gummy oh my god, what am I saying? The gumball machines sadly don't serve too much of a purpose. They're just an impediment for no reason. They don't make the level more fun or strategic. The problem with the AI is that it frequently abuses the gumball machines. It just places gumball machines down randomly and tells the player, oh, just hit them 20 times. This is not how you use elements in game design. You use them as if there is a justification. Oh my god, I'm just so blinded by the stupidity that I can't even speak English properly. But in game design, when you place down an element, it had better had a purpose. Otherwise, you do not place it down, because it does not add to the experience. In this case, all the player has to do is to hit the gumball machines. That's no fun. At least place them at the bottom or something. That will make them serve a purpose or something, because we're gonna be blocking off the bottom row. In this case, all the player has to do is just make regular moves. Boring. 20356. The Oh my god, the creativity score is bumped up by these fences. I'm a huge fan of fences because usually when they're added, it means that the level has some isolated sections, and that gives them more depth, I guess, because you have to use special candies to hit the isolated sections and be cognizant of the fact that you need to clear those sections. But what bumps this level down is firstly the marmalade at the flanks. It makes the level look ugly, I'm gonna be honest. Secondly, the fact that it is totally impossible. I'm pretty sure this is a 5-colored level. You're not gonna be doing anything with 24 moves. 20372. Failed attempt to make a fun level, and I'll explain why. Again, starting board has only 3 colors fixed. Okay, not everyone is a Candy Crush expert here, so I'll explain. There's a way the level can be coded such that the starting candies are of a certain color or of a certain few colors. In this case, the candies are coded such that they always begin red, blue, or purple. However, the candies that spawn from the top, they can be of any of the 5 colors that spawn naturally in this level. Well, how is that relevant? Because this level is 5-colored, and with 5 colors, it just ruins the experience totally, because you have to be cognizant of the fact that there are these gumball machines right in the middle column. There's such a huge impediment. They actually make the level less strategic by breaking it up into 2 sections, because, well, with 5 colors you just don't have much of a choice in the moves you can make. They're just restricting options, giving the player less freedom, and in game design you want to have some sort of freedom for the player, or at least the very illusion of freedom, so that they feel that they have a stake in their destiny. Otherwise, they're not even gonna try and think of what moves to make. Like, if all of the moves are forced moves, they don't even have to think at all. It's not a puzzle game. It's just a game of luck. Why is the creativity score a 3 out of 10? Well, I do see an attempt at making the level interesting, those gumball machines and the crystal candy. However, in this case, they do not add to the depth at all, so I cannot credit the level too much for that. 20379. Thank you for using these sugar chests, and in this case they're not useless. You actually have to wait quite a while for the sugar keys to drop down, and that brings me to my next point. On this level, I watched it. You have to wait too long to get the sugar keys to drop down. So half of the level is just waiting for the keys to drop down, and then by the time you collect all of them, you have like 10 moves left, and you have to clear all of that's gunk down there. Totally impossible. So sad. It could have been so much more interesting if it were actually a doable level. Also, very bland level, despite the presence of the sugar keys. You don't just spam toffee everywhere. And this conveyor belt, it doesn't add anything. It just makes the level look uglier. Like, why does it end suddenly in between the first and second columns, and in between the 8th and 9th columns? Meanwhile, for that conveyor belt in the middle, it actually is good because it gives the level some extra cascades, I don't know, and it doesn't look ugly. There it goes. 20401. The levels are actually getting better and better, but they're still pieces of trash because they're 10 out of 30. But I was kind to this level because it actually feels intentional. The shapes are the L shapes. They are a recurring motif in this level, and they just look kinda cool, to be honest. Like, they didn't just decide to go for a boring old square shape or some stupid irregular shape. In this case, the shape is actually interesting. Secondly, order locks. Thank you for using order locks that actually serve a purpose. You actually have to work to open up the order locks. And I'd like to bring your attention to this 20 sugar coat or order lock, because yes, you have to clear all of this to open up this order lock. How does that make the level any better? Well, because it actually gives these sugar coats a purpose. I don't like it when the level sugar coats the candies at the start and those sugar coats serve no purpose other than to be a slight impediment to the player. But in this level, they're actually tied to the objectives, because you have to clear the sugar coats in order to open up the toffee swirls, which are then required for the goal. That gives it a bit of depth, and it makes the level feel intentional, I guess. 20371. The levels are actually getting better and better, but they're still failing. Why was I generous with a score here? Simply put, because of that gummy dragon contraption and because of the sugar keys. The gummy dragons, they spawn from the top right and then they fall into the leftmost column. Sadly, in this case, I didn't decide to bump the design and creativity scores too much, simply because the gummy dragons, they serve no purpose in this level. Go search up the spawn rates. I think it's 4 moves max 1 for the gummy dragons. Again, my video is totally unscripted, so I might be making mistakes here. That also explains why I'm not speaking properly, but basically all 3 gummy dragons fall down at the same time because of how this level is designed. You have to get 3 keys first before you open up this section, and because of that, I don't know how to explain it. There's a delay in you opening up the frosting on the left side, so the gummy dragons fall all at once. It just ruins the experience for me. At least they tried though. 20,400. Usually for the levels that are multiples of 100, I've found that the AI actually puts in a bit of effort to make semi-decent levels, I guess. This level is kind of cool because everything feels intentional here. The rainbow rapids in the corners, nicely tucked away. I like that. I like how they aren't just placed in the middle without a care for the world. In this case, rainbow twists actually make the level more aesthetically appealing, because without them the level would have been a boring square. So design goes up. Secondly, sugar keys, sour skulls. Yes, you're using different kinds of locks. I like that. So the player has to juggle between prioritizing opening up the sour skull and bringing down those sugar keys. I might be making a mound out of a molehill, but with AI generated levels, you really do have to go out of your way and find good stuff to say about them. Because I'm gonna be very honest, I'm trying to hold back the desire to rant right now. 20366. Failed attempt at a fun level. Thank you for using a kick bomb here. I've watched the level and it seems pretty fun. In fact, I've watched all of these levels, so don't stop my expertise, so to say. But it's totally impossible with 25 moves and 5 colors. Most of the board is locked up, and that is a problem. By the time the player opens everything up, he's gonna have they are going to have like 10 moves left. And again, not very coherent level you have here. What is the purpose of these molomatics? What is the purpose of these jelly jars? Do they even add anything to the level? If so, just remove them, please. 20367. I was generous with the design and creativity scores here because the magic mixers, they spawn 2 free layered bubblegum pops every 3 moves, and in doing so they typically replace the frosting, which is kind of cool. You aren't just excavating all the frosting and destroying the magic mixers without the care for the world here. You actually have to consider whether you want to keep the magic mixes on the board, because while they are a part of a level goal and while they do make a nice little explosion once they are cleared, you do have to recognize that they are producing bubblegum pops that replace the frosting, and so they're both beneficial and harmful. The player has to juggle between these 2 factors, and that gives the level a little bit more depth. It is so sad how the level was pulled down by its awful balance score, because it's totally impossible. This is just frosting spam without a careful world. And small thing here, minor thing, but the dark chocolate order is useless. Let's just count it. 3 plus 10 plus 21. Yeah, 34. You don't even have to spread the dark chocolate at all. At all. If so, what is the purpose of having that order? Can you at least force the player to spread some dark chocolate and make them feel cool? I don't know. Just don't add redundant orders. 20386. Kind of cool. I like the placement of the sugar key cannons. They're kind of awkward, and that's what makes them beautiful. Cause you have to do a weird dance of reaching into that little isolated segments, those little isolated segments. It isn't just, oh, you make moves randomly and then keys will fall. You have to make a conscious effort to actually get the keys. And secondly, that's a very cool board shape. It doesn't feel random for some reason. In this case, it actually feels cool. Like this hole in the middle, beautiful. Making things more difficult for the player, but in a beautiful way, because this is an impediment to the player, and the player has to think, how do I want to efficiently reach the frosting blocks below with this stupid towel blocking me? The player can't resort to their normal stratagems to pass this level, and that makes it slightly cooler. Sadly, the level is impossible. 2 out of 10 for balance. 20395. Again, thank you for the placement of the sugar key cannons. They actually serve a purpose, you know, the keys in this level. Cause what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to hit the candy cobras, and then they'll open up the flanks. Then sugar keys will drop from there, and it's gonna be pretty tough to hit them. Well, it's not because I'm masochistic, it's because I like it when sugar keys actually serve a purpose. The player has to make a conscious effort to get those keys, and that makes it a little more strategic, I guess, especially since the sugar keys are gonna fall down to the hard to reach spots, so they're gonna have to use special candies to reach them. Sadly, the level is impossible. 20399 could have been more coherent, but at least it's a fun level. 20357, fun level, grab candy cannons, UFO, 4 colors. I'm not gonna punish the fact that it is brainlessly easy, because, well, it seems like it's meant to be a fun level, so I'm being lenient. 20351. Okay, isolated sections were pretty cool, and order locks were cool too, because in this case, look at what they're asking for. Yellow candies. And do yellow candies spawn naturally? No, you have to get them from the color cannons. So what the player has to do is make a conscious effort to clear the toffee at the flanks, bring those yellow candies down, and clear them quick so they can open up the isolated sections. Again, sorry for the bad English today. 20355. Thank you for the isolated sections, but in this level they don't seem to serve a purpose. And secondly, the level is impossible. At least they put some licorice shells. Kind of cool. Rather than spamming more frosting. 20376. Thank you for putting those conveyor belts, but I'm afraid they don't serve too much of a purpose. But why was I still generous with a creativity score? Because Bomb Bomb Blitz, Rap Candy, Bomb Bomb Blitz, in this level they actually serve a purpose, because if a player, they actually try and leverage those Bomb Bomb Blitzes, it's gonna make their life way easier. So in this level, it isn't just, oh, we put Bomb Bomb Blitzes for fun. They actually serve a purpose, even though it's arguably not very useful, I guess, because of those stupid licorice curls. Thirdly, that's a cool board shape. Fourthly, nice wrapped candy cannons you have there. They're actually useful. (20352). Another attempt by the AI at creating contraptions. What you're supposed to do is get jellyfish to drop and then use them to hit the sour skulls. Either that, or you organically create them by doing square matches. If you didn't know, nowadays you can do square matches to form jellyfish. I like it because the jellyfish cannons are not generous enough, and that forces the player to create their own jellyfish in order to make in order to be able to open up the sour skulls in time. So, well, thank you for actually using the square match feature. And next thing, I like how you have to sequentially open up the different sections. Get 10 frosting, unlock this section, then you unlock this, then you unlock this, then you unlock this. You get what I mean. It's better than pure frosting spam, even though there's still room for improvements in this level. Everything in this level just feels intentional, so I was very kind with the creativity and balance. Design and creativity scores. Balance is 2 out of 10 because it's impossible to get the dragons and clear those 5-layered frostings. 20369 could have been more coherent, but I get it. It's supposed to be a fun level with those cake bombs, jelly jars, 4 candy colors if you couldn't tell, wrapped candy cannons. It's sad how cramped the starting board is. It's as if the player has no agency in how they want to start the level, because the moves are gonna be forced. But at least they did a good job. (20375). Rainbow Rapids, Gummy Dragons. Gummy Dragons are useless, and that's sad. But that slightly bumped the design score down for me, because all the player has to do is to clear the kick bomb, and that makes the Gummy Dragons redundant, because you have to open up the kick bomb in the first place in order to open up the Rainbow Rapids. Hence, what is the point of putting them? Can't you just remove them? The level would look better without them, honestly. But it's kind of creative though. Fences, regular fence, licorice fence. Player has to open up this side with semi-spawning colors and utilize the stripes there to get the kick bomb. Either that or the organically formed stripes, and then after they hit the kick bomb, and destroy it. All the slices. This part opens, and then poof, all the rainbow twists snap. It's kind of sad that they decided to put this wrapped candy can. Seriously, it's totally useless. Don't put stuff that has no purpose. Apologies for a second interruption. I just hit the recording limits again, and there's drilling going on right beside me again, so it's hard for me to even think straight, but let me continue and persevere and get all of this over with. Greater good. Anyway, this level, it looks kind of cool aesthetically. It's all red. I don't know how to describe it. It feels like an artwork almost. Sugar coats, bonbon blitzes. If only the bonbon blitzes were more useful and served the purpose, but hey, at least it makes the level a little more fun. And the special candy cannons aren't totally useless, so kudos to them. In this level, the gummy dragons, that objective isn't totally useless. In fact, it makes the level harder, significantly harder, because you have to get 5 of them. Just go search up a video of it. I think the spawn rate they use for it is a max spawn rate, so the player has to collect the dragons already on the board in order to enable the cannons to spawn even more. So 5 gummy dragons, respectable decision by them to make the objective not useless. 20373. Isolated sections again. Licorice fence, candy cane fence. Player has to get the cake bombs, and smash everything, following which the bottom left section will be opened, and they can leverage that section and get tons of striped candies and jellyfish to clear the stuff on the right. Well, it's not exactly tons, even though the the spawn rates are generous. Jellyfish spawn every move, while horizontal stripes spawn every 2 moves if possible, as in if the player makes a move under them, of course. I like how they added that section on the bottom left. You know, it's a weird dance again of deciding whether you want to make moves in the top left, bottom left, or the right section. It gives the player agency, or the illusion of agency over their fate. But what pulls the score down is the stupid licorice swirls in the top left quadrant. They don't add anything to the level, and they just make it look ugly. Second thing, the level is impossible in 22 moves. The toffee is just too thick. Come on, man. You didn't have to make them clear 4-layered toffee under marmalade. 20402. Very lazy level, but at least it's kind of fun. Bonbon blitzes. Vertical candy bomb blitz. No, not vertical candy. Vertical striped bonbon blitz. 4 charged, so it clears all of the licorice swirls. Good that they chose the number 4 and not some stupid other number. It actually makes stuff feel intentional. Licorice fences, which effectively make the level more isolated, even though all of the parts are joined. So the player has to make a conscious effort to clear each of the flanks separately. They can't just be lazy and use strap candies or something. But the sad thing is, I think the level would have been better without the jellyfish cannons. Come on, man, make them clear those isolated jellies themselves. Don't allow them to get rid of stuff so easily. It's more fun to have to reach to an isolated jelly at some corner than to be able to sit off a jellyfish and it does all of the cleanup work for you. At least it's a fun level though. 20360, thank you for making Gummy Dragons the only objective on this level. If a player is intelligent, they'll realize that all they have to do to beat this level is to clear these toffees. How do they do that? The most efficient way to do it is to just spam fish, either by hitting the bobber, creating fish, or leveraging those that are spawned. Very, very intelligent. There's so many smoke and mirrors, but players are just, how do I explain it? They're punished for not looking at the goal properly, because then they'll be chipping away at the bottom when all they have to do is to set off some fish. And fish targets tiles under gummy dragons, if you aren't aware. Balance score is a 5 out of 10. It is brainlessly easy, but for a reason. It's meant to be a fun level. That's why there are so many special candy cannons. That's why there are bobbers. That's why there's a licorice shell, and that's why the level only has 4 candy colors. Just search it up. You get combos galore on this level. Good job. 18 out of 30. 20384. Nice contraption you have. Very good. Collect these keys and then open up these pom-pom blitzes, and then you can hit this one in order to clear the bottom easily. For this, I'm gonna be generous and give them a 6 out of 10 for creativity. Why is the design 7 out of 10? Because the stuff in this level mostly feels intentional. I like the fact that they didn't just spam random elements. They stuck to toffee for everything. It isn't spam in this case because it's quite easy to clear the toffee. It's coherent. Secondly, wrap candies, they're actually useful and they make the level more fun. So I'm gonna reward them for giving the player wrap candies. Next thing, sugar keys. Thank you for not allowing the player to access these bonbon blitzes too easily. We get such levels too often. The player has to realize, oh, we get the sugar keys, and then we can hit this bonbon blitz in order to clear the bottom easily. Again, it's a small thing, but with the AI generated levels, I really have to shoehorn in some positive commentary, I guess. It's not really shoehorning, but I really am going out of my way to comment some positive stuff. Otherwise, this would be a very long rant. 20396. Spammy but cool. Spam, vertical, candy bomb blitzes, wrap candy bonbon blitzes, rainbow twists, blue wrap candies. This level just feels like an artwork. Even though it's not exactly a strategic level, I was kind here because I realized, oh, the AI just wants to create a fun level. Go search it up or something. It's super fun. You just hit the vertical strapped bonbon blitzes, and then the blue wrap candies go off, the rainbow twists snap, and then you can hit the wrapped candy bonbon blitzes to clear much of a residual toffee. It's cool. 20397. I awarded a 9 for design and an 8 for creativity. Not so common nowadays, but I have to explain why I was generous with those scores, but decided to give a 3 out of 10 for balance, so expect a long rant, I guess. Why is this level well designed? You have to get all of the toffee here, or you can open up the sour skull and use some of the lower toffee in order to be able to get a 25, or open up these order locks calling for 25 toffee, following which the section, those sections will be opened up, those 2 colored sections, and you can leverage them, match the color bombs with green or purple to clear the flanks, and color bombs will be spawning from those columns. If you realize, yes, they actually decided to be generous in this level. And the player you're just making them feel cool, because we can decide, oh, I want to use the color bomb to hit green, or I want to use the color bomb to hit purple. How do I explain it? The player has to think which color they wants to use the color bomb to hit, because of the fact that purple is a non-spawning color. They really have to think on this level. And the level is also pretty fun as well. Well, ignore the strap candy cannon, it's pretty much useless, but 2 colored sections, fun. Color bomb blitzes and color bomb cannons, fun. Clearing the sour skull, in this level it's actually not a total pain to clear the sour skull, so good job. Sadly 3 out of 10 for balance, because to juggle everything in 22 moves, you know, you can tell it's impossible. There's just too much stuff you have to do. You have to clear all of this gunk here and deal with the flanks. You can't do it in 22 moves, especially with 5 colors on the main board. It's so sad. It had so much potential. If this level were actually doable without boosters, you might be seeing this at the top. Speaking of which, we are in the top 5. 20363 was generous with the scores because I recognized that the AI just wanted to make a fun level. So jellyfish cannons, red candy cannons, not the most useful, but I get the rationale for putting them. For fun levels, it's fine to put stuff just for the fun of it. And thank you for not putting useless orders. All the player has to do is to clear the path over rapids, I guess. Thank you for not putting a toffee order. This level, how do I explain it? It's super easy, but it doesn't feel like a failure level, because there's just so much fun. The level is chock full of fun stuff, like the special candies and the UFO. And the weird shape, it gives it a bit of jazz, I guess, because the player has to think, how do I reach the stupid toffee in those corners? Go search it up. You'll see how the players take several turns trying to clear the residual toffee because of its awkward location. I'm not masochistic, I just like it when the player has to think to clear blockers. 20405. Good job trying to use a sprinkling of elements. Good job with the sugar keys, but you could have done this better. The level, it just feels like it's trying to flaunt too much. The player just has to clear the rainbow twists, hit the horizontal strapped bomb blitz, and then it'll get the keys, because the wrapped candy bomb blitzes will explode. Come on, that's not very fun. At least make the player put in some efforts. But I was kind because I guess it's a fun level. But just because it's a fun level doesn't mean you spam random stuff. You just put stuff if it adds to the level. If the previous level they added the UFO and the wrapped candy cannons because they actually marginally help the player and make it more fun. But in this level, can you tell me why they put those jelly jars? Seriously, don't put stuff for no reason. 20393, good level, good job, second place. But the fact that a level can get second place with 24 out of 30 is not exactly respectable, but okay, fine. 2 colored section, 2 colored quadrants, very cool. You have to hit the wrapped candy bomb blitz to get rid of those licorice locks, and then you clear the frosting, unlock candy cobras, and then you hit them and they go wee, and then they get the sugar keys. After you get the sugar keys, you open the middle up, and then you have to get another sugar key, which will open the rest of the board up, and you can leverage the bomb blitzes to clear all of the frosting, but you still have to make a conscious effort in order to get all of the toffee, because these bomb blitzes, these wrapped candy bomb blitzes are not 4 charged, by the way, and you have to get 30 red candies. it's not a free pass. Most of the time when the AI makes a candy color order, it's just a joke because it's super easy. But in this level, because of the fact that red candies only spawn in this upside down T section area, the player actually has to make a conscious effort to make moves in the segments in order to be able to create, no, not create, clear red candies. Go search up skillgaming's video or something. You can see how the red candy objective was the last one that he met. I don't have to explain why this got 8 out of 10 for design and 8 out of 10 for creativity. It's a pretty good balance, but again, could have been better. 20390, a surprise winner. Why did it win? Because number one, free gummy dragons. Tell me how many gummy dragons are on the board right now. So yes, it isn't just we can use the vertical strap candy bomb blitzes and they'll clear everything. No, because you have to get 3 of them. So it's not just a total joke level. The player has to either organically create their own strap candies or jellyfish, or they can utilize these color bomb cannons. Well, those color bomb cannons, they aren't super helpful for most players, because I watched a couple of YouTube videos on this level and it didn't seem like they used the color bomb cannons very much. But I like how they gave the player more options. You can choose either to form strap candies to get the gummy dragons down, or you can form jellyfish, or you can utilize the color bomb. You know, freedom for the player. That's good on their parts. 4 colors, so it's also an incredibly fun level to play. So I give it 9 out of 10 for design and 8 out of 10 for balance. They could have made it slightly more challenging, which would have bumped up the balance score, but I'm pleased with this level, especially given it's AI generated. They really hits the mark on this level. I would like to end off with statistics. 17 levels got a score of at least 15 out of 30. Think about it. 17 out of 60 levels hitting the bare minimum. That really says a lot about the quality of the cookie cutter levels that the AI is churning out, 60 a week. But quality matters more than quantity. What I like to take away is that I really hope the level designers, whatever humans there are left, do more quality assurance and ensure the AI actually creates levels with depth, because this is the match-free genre. We didn't download Candy Crush for nothing, for these brainless levels that take a million boosters to be completed. We want to use our brain and to be able to solve each of these beautifully crafted puzzles with our brain and with a bit of wittiness, I guess. It's just not fun when every level is an excavation level, which requires nothing but either pure luck or booster spam to be completed. Also, there should really be more levels of a moderate difficulty. For all of the recent releases, if there's a trend, that is that all of the levels are either extremely easy or straight up humanly impossible. That's an issue. You want to have a moderate difficulty, so the player has to think to beat the level, but they feel like it's not a lost cause. They don't just have to spam boosters. They feel like they have a stake in what their fate is, so they'll be motivated to be witty, play the levels their best, and actually think before making moves. That's what makes puzzle games fun, having to think. And by the way, only 4 levels got 21 or above, which is sad. I'd really like to see more creative levels in the future. Hopefully the AI can learn from its weak points and its strong points. And someone seriously send this level to King, send this video to King, because I'm disappointed. Bye.